Hey everyone, it's Jennifer Skog here today, and I wanted to share with you some of my retouching techniques. So this is actually part one of two parts. First, I'm going to do a little head swap. This actually was an image of mine that I photographed at one of my Skog Gone Rogue workshops, and I was doing kind of a quick and dirty, sloppy shooting, but I wanted to get her a nice headshot. And while I love this shot on the left, I really like a little bit more, so I want to see those legs. So what I'm going to do is put this head on top of here, because this one's kind of out of focus and not nearly as, appealing as this one. So first, what I'm going to do is simply drag this guy on top of this guy. And then from here on out, we'll be working in here. So the first step is just to take that second layer that you've got and sort of reduce the opacity so that you can kind of see where it is and match it up the best you can. Now we're going to be deleting or sort of editing out this portion below. So this is the portion I'm kind of looking to match up with. And I know her arms aren't perfectly aligned, but they're actually pretty good. I mean, I've got here and here, which is really nice. This I think can work right into that. That might work. So I think this is pretty good. Let's do it 100%. Okay, so that's not too bad. What we'll do is we'll do some little bit of extras to kind of make sure that it fits the best way. I didn't really talk about this, but what we want to do is with retouching, if you don't have a pen tablet, I highly recommend you invest in one. It's just much more precise and so much easier. It'll take a little bit of getting used to just operating with it, but once you've been using it for about a week or so, you've got it. All right, so what I'm going to do with this second layer is I'm going to add a mask to it right here. And I'm going to actually paint on it in black. And the black is going to basically erase anything on this second layer that I want to erase. So I've got my pen and we're going to do the brush tool. Now your right and left brackets will either increase or decrease your brush size. And these are buttons that you're always going to use. So think about using some shortcuts, your right and left bracket. So I'm just sort of eliminating areas that I want to delete. And right here, I remember there was just, is it something like, oh, that might not work. Yeah, that might not work. So where I'm going to do an X, and that's going to change my color from white to black. If I type the letter X, that's a shortcut. And I'm just going to put that back in there, that arm back in there that she had, and see if there's another way to sort of do that. And I think what I'll end up doing is just slowly getting rid of that closer up. Let's go back over here because this stuff is obvious. We don't want any sharp lines. Oops, I liked that. But I'm just sort of painting. Oops. With my brush. Ooh. And oftentimes I'm going back and forth using the X button to change the colors because sometimes I may have erased too much or not enough. So you can kind of just play with it and then just find a spot where it can kind of blend in with the other layer. There we go. And I think this one up here. So this is where I'm going to zoom in a little bit and get a little bit more precise with it. This is a little, I don't want to delete this, so there we go. And just kind of paint it a little bit. Okay, just kind of blend it. I see this needs blended, and I think maybe I can just... Okay, so I'm gonna have to edit this a little bit, which is fine. And then we'll blend this. See how we can blend. What? Where am I going? I don't want all that. Like I said, sometimes you gotta go where you don't want to go before you know where you want to go. If that makes any sense at all. Oh man, now I just ruined this whole thing that I just was fixing. There we go. There. What's this? Blend that. There we go. That very much looks more like it's meant to be there. And that way we don't have any, as long as we don't have any hard lines. And sometimes this close up it's very hard to see, but I see stuff all right here that we can totally get rid of. Let's go back. This. Let's get her actual arm back in there. Okay. Let's see from farther back. Check her arm. And then sometimes I'll take the background out just to see how the foreground is. Okay, so obviously this is not matching up. So let's just see what we need to do. Sometimes if it just needs to blend a little, which this is kind of a case of just needing to blend, especially right here, I'll sometimes reduce the opacity a little bit and then just kind of brush it in a little bit. And that sometimes does the trick. And it's actually just blending the two layers together. I'd ask you if you see anything else, but this is a little doubled right here. Oops, get back in my 100%er. Just delete that. Clean that up. All right, so I think the only thing that is really bugging is this guy down here, which we're gonna edit a different way. And I think, oops, I think this is how it naturally goes, so there's not much we can do there. I'll just dodge and burn it. Okay, and so we also said we were gonna go back, and so I want you to remind you that all of this was done in a mask layer, and all it is painting black and white, and you're really just brushing in and out the parts of both images and kind of combining the two to use, you know, the best parts of each image. So now we just want to edit this little area out. And there's several ways we can do this. You can clone it, you can take a selection of it and copy and paste on top of it. I prefer to use the healing brush, not to be confused with the spot healing brush. This is the healing brush. It is shortcut J on your keyboard. And what it does is it actually takes the texture from your sampled area. So Alt click and then you paint wherever you want, and it kind of picks up that same texture. As opposed to the spot or the cloning brush actually literally takes exactly what you took. So Alt tap for the area you want to paint, and then the cloning brush literally takes everything. So it doesn't blend. What I love about the healing brush is that it blends. It does take some getting used to, because you've got to definitely be careful when you're close to two colors like this, because it'll blend it too much, and we actually want to keep this line here. So I'm going to copy it right, just similar to how you would do it with the cloning tool. I'm going to copy it along the same line and then go all the way up, and it magically disappears. And then you just do it a couple more times and see, that's where it goes bad a little bit. So let's go back and get out of that spot. And that's where you just need to get a little bit more precise with it. So I made a smaller brush, and then I'm just going to go in a little tighter, And maybe I'll just get rid of this and nobody will ever even know. Just like that. So it just kind of blends it, and I'm using little brush strokes. All right. So does that get you excited for our next part of retouching? We are going to clear up all of the skin tones, make sure that everything's even, get very still realistic, get rid of some of the veins, and then we're going to have an amazing headshot. So stay tuned for part 2. We're going to take this image from here to here in hopefully about 10 minutes. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear any feedback you have, and please send me any questions or anything else you'd love to learn, as I'd love to share. You can find my work at jenniferskog.com, or my boudoir work is at jenniferskogboudoir.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Skog Gone Rogue for my boudoir and fashion work, and then just straight Jennifer Skog as well. We've got some great workshops coming up, a great shot list coming out that I'm super excited about, and lots of fun things. So please stay tuned. If you'd like to find out more, please email me at studio@jenniferskog.com. Thanks guys. See you soon.